Thank you very much, Carol. Minister, you're welcome to the House. Minister, what's wrong here today is you're sitting in that chair. That's what's wrong. Because the system in this country is totally and utterly wrong. You're answerable to the House here, but the people who caused this problem have swanned off, are hidden in the system. Okay, one of them is, what did they refer to it as? He withdrew from surgery. I believe he's now suspended. At the end of the day, we have a system in this country that as soon as something goes wrong, wheel in the minister, fire the minister, kick him out the door, and that's it. And then the people who caused the problem continue on in their role all the time. So we have a rotten system that continues to be rotten, and what's wrong is we are only able to hold you answerable. There is no oversight in this country on anything. We can go back to the crash of 116. No oversight, nothing. Nobody was taking any notice. Same thing up in the CHI. Surely somebody somewhere knew what was going on. Why isn't there an avenue for them to come directly to the minister and say, this is happening up in our hospital and I am really uncomfortable with it? Why is it that your head, only last week, people screaming for you to come back from Washington and answer questions here? I don't believe you can answer the questions. I don't believe that coming in here today you can answer the questions. Yes, we have managed to scratch an itch by having you in here. But at the end of the day, the people responsible for this are still up the road, still doing their job, apart from one sacrificial lamb that has been isolated so far. Why weren't you able to walk in and fire the bloody lot of them? Why couldn't you do that? You're answerable, but you have no power over them. We have left 17 families in absolute pain, trying to figure out where the future goes. We have politicians wanting to dance on each other's graves, and at the end of the day, it doesn't answer or solve any question, so it doesn't. We have to change the system in this country where we hold the wrongdoers to account, where somebody, I don't care how senior they are, I spent my life defending people in trade unionism and defending their jobs, but I would never have defended a wrongdoer, and neither would any trade union anywhere have defended a wrongdoer. At the end of the day, we have a situation here today where we have a minister in here trying to explain away something that I don't believe you're anywhere close to getting even to the start of where this all went wrong. There were people involved in purchasing, there were people involved in nursing, there were people involved in clinical tests, blood tests, you name it, all this sort of stuff. How do we finish up in a situation where nobody opens their mouth? Perhaps my colleague Tom Clonan has hit the nail on the head. We have a sort of what would you call it, an almost gentleman's agreement that we can deviate from what's required in order to get the job done. I think Tom mentioned the heart stents for babies. If there's a need to do these things, why isn't there a procedure in place? I don't ask you to be responsible. I ask the Secretary General of your department to be responsible. But we can't do that. We can't have the Secretary General in here to question him. So we can't. We can't ask him why he hasn't procedures in place. You're Minister for Health. When I look around the Cabinet and I see ministers with 7 and 8 and 9 areas of responsibility, if we were running a company, we'd fire the Chief Executive and we would restart from the beginning, where everybody was responsible for one thing and able to oversee it. There is no oversight, and as long as there is no oversight, people like you are going to continue to come into this House trying to answer questions that you yourself haven't been able to get answers to, and trying to appease the political system. The political system is not where this needs to be. It needs to be in the criminal system. It needs a full investigation. And I tell you, when you start the investigation from the purchasing officer through to the surgeon who carried out the operation, the whole goddamn lot should be fired. They have put children's lives at risk. They have damaged families who are trying to answer questions. And there are families who have had surgery in the past who are now asking themselves, was my child treated properly? Did my child get one of these devices put into their body that is not clinically approved? So at the end of the day, I'm sorry you're here. I think you should be off doing your job somewhere, and I think the people who are responsible should be here. But alas and alack, our system doesn't allow for that. So you're in the chair, you've got to answer the question. I'll go back to what Senator Doherty said. The one thing you can do is you can make sure the inquiry is speedy. You can make sure that people are identified and held to account, and holding them to account means thank you for your service and goodbye. That's what it means. I don't know how we're going to appease the families that have been subjected to this. It is really, really sad. But I'm not going to play the political game and start blaming one government over another. The system is rotten and has been rotten for years. We are being danced on by a powerful civil service, and our ministers are turning out to be puppets put in to answer questions. It's just not the way it should be. I'll leave it at that, Cathal. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.